God designed the human body as a powerful physical machine, but it requires fuel to function. This fuel is known as food. God instilled within us an appetite for sustenance, called hunger, to ensure the body receives nourishment. Food satisfies our hunger and provides energy, maintaining the natural balance of life. In today's world, we're accustomed to eating 3 meals daily. We're constantly reminded that a hearty breakfast is essential for a productive day. We were taught in school to eat 3 full meals a day and exercise to stay healthy. So, why skip meals? The world calls it dieting, often for weight loss or health reasons. However, some abstain from eating for spiritual reasons, a practice known in the Bible as fasting. Fasting is typically undertaken for a specific period to achieve a spiritual goal. Consider this example from the Old Testament. Once a year, Jewish believers were required to fast. Leviticus 16:29 states, "This shall be a statute forever for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall afflict your souls and do no work at all, whether one of your own country or a stranger who sojourns among you." This fast, observed on the Day of Atonement, is known as the Yom Kippur fast. God commanded his people to fast annually on the Day of Atonement. Everyone fasted, as God desired all to remember the solemn experience of their salvation. On this day, the high priest entered the Holy of Holies and offered the blood of an animal as a sacrifice for the sins of all. Leviticus 16:4 states, "He shall wash his flesh with water in the holy place and put on his garments, and come forth and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people." Since the Day of Atonement addressed the nation's sins, everyone fasted to identify with the high priest who sacrificed a lamb for the forgiveness of their sins. Jesus instructed his disciples, "When you fast, do not look somber like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." By giving up pleasurable and necessary foods, you draw God's attention. Even in Jesus' time, he warned us against flaunting our fasting. He cautioned his disciples not to fast for public praise. The fact that he said, "whenever you fast," indicates that he considered fasting a legitimate spiritual discipline. Fasting is temporarily abstaining from a bodily desire, usually food, in favor of a spiritual need. Instead of eating, you dedicate yourself to secret prayer, seeking God's intervention. However, if your goal in avoiding food is to receive praise for your spirituality, their approval will be your reward. If you've never fasted before, the idea of going without food for any period might seem daunting. People have various concerns, as we're programmed to eat 3 times a day. Many wonder if they'll feel hungry and if the hunger pains will be painful. Others worry about whether they can endure the journey or if they'll see a TV commercial suggesting a chocolate bar to help them through an energy slump. Some are concerned about how their friends will perceive them. The answer is simple. You don't fast to impress your friends, and you usually don't even tell them. As Jesus mentioned, "When you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." Jesus reminded us not to make an outward show of our religious devotion to God. Instead, fasting is a private commitment between you and God. You can fast in private and tell no one. At other times, you might participate in a public fast, such as with your church or another individual, to address a problem. Ezra fasted with 4,000 people, and Esther asked all Jewish believers to fast for divine intervention. Every year in May, Christians are invited to participate in the National Day of Prayer and Fasting. Fasting is not the same as dieting or eliminating food for health reasons. There are various types of fasts for spiritual reasons and many reasons to fast, often paired with prayer. Fasting is a biblical discipline that can help anyone improve their spiritual fitness and become a prayer warrior for God. Some believe that Christians don't require discipline, but we build our strength through spiritual exercises. We must remember that we are soldiers of Christ, and a good soldier is proficient in various disciplines. Fasting is just one of the many disciplines of a Christian. Jesus told his disciples that when you pray for others, whether for your church or for people's salvation, Satan will oppose you. Fasting, like climbing a mountain, is demanding both spiritually and physically. Embark on this adventure with a clear understanding of what you're doing and with the knowledge that the path ahead may be challenging, but the rewards will be well worth it. Start small if this is your first fast. God will honor your first step of faith, which may seem small to others, but will be a great step for you. God also cares about your heart's response during fasting. Your attitude is a very serious part of your fast. Just as when a man proposes to a woman, it's not the length of his proposal that gets a yes, but the heart behind it. So when you begin to fast, don't worry about how long your fast should last. Just make sure your relationship with God is in good order. God knows everything. He understands and values the sincerity of your prayers more than their length. If you've never fasted before, start with a fast from skipping one meal. In the Old Testament, Jews were required to fast for 1 day on Yom Kippur each year. A day began at sunset and ended at sunset the next day, according to the Jewish calendar. God taught the Jews to count their days, so the evening and the morning were the first day. Plan to start your fast when the sun sets, or maybe just before sunset. This means you will skip the normal evening meal, then skip breakfast and lunch the next day. After sunset, most Jews broke their fast by eating a normal meal. Even though private prayer and fasting are the foundation of all intercession, fasting with a companion can be beneficial. If you've never walked this path before, you might want to start your fasting journey with another person. If you're fasting for a specific answer to prayer, invite someone to pray and fast with you. There is strength in numbers. Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Again, truly I tell you, if 2 of you on earth agree about anything you ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. These verses are not just about prayer. They're also about the commitment we make in agreement with another person. Think of it this way. When you plan a vacation with another person, it's more memorable if you plan, dream, and share experiences together. When you share your vacation with another person, you probably enjoy it more. The same is true for fasting. When you share the experience of fasting and praying together, your prayers are likely to be more focused. Fasting with another person also has additional benefits. You have someone to discuss your doubts, questions, and fears with. If fasting intimidates you, the strength of another person can help you overcome it. You can always call each other for advice and to check how it's going. This phone call might give you the motivation you need to keep going. Don't forget the celebration. When you climb a mountain alone, you're doing it to prove something to yourself, and the victory is solely yours. But when you climb with others, you have many people to celebrate with when you reach the top. You celebrate, embrace, and then return to tell everyone about your victory. When you finish the fast, you can rejoice together. Simply being together makes the taste of victory even sweeter. Another advantage of fasting with a friend is that it establishes accountability. You'll be less tempted to eat a snack or break your fast if you know a friend is aware of your fasting. Perhaps you've already run or walked for health with a friend. If so, you understand how having a partner can help you stay committed when things get tough. If you're strong, you might not need someone to help with accountability, but if you're not, teaming up with someone in the same boat can be beneficial. When you're preparing to fast, look deep within your heart to discover why you're fasting. There are countless reasons for fasting, which we will discuss. You might already have a reason. When young David faced Goliath, no other Israeli soldier wanted to confront the giant. They not only refused to fight Goliath, but each gave David a different reason to avoid the battle. However, David was undeterred. He had a compelling reason to fight that particular giant. It's not just about praying and fasting. We fast for a reason. Are you willing to fast and give up